Hey everybody, what's going on, and welcome to Guns N' Roses Central. And before we get started with this week's news, just a couple of housekeeping items. So I want to give Rocker Rags a shout out. They are having a 15% off sale right now for you guys who are interested in any of their items. So if you use the promo code AXLDUFF2018 in one word, you guys will get 15% off your order. So go check out rockerrags.com. I put the link to it down below as well as the promo code. Also want to let you guys know that we interviewed Rod Jackson from Slash's Snake Pit about a week ago. So if you guys haven't seen that interview, it's a great interview. It's about an hour and a half long, and he didn't really hold anything back. He had a lot of interesting things to say. So if you guys are Snake Pit fans and Guns N' Roses fans, go check it out. And then finally, we did a huge interview on Friday with a person who's worked with Guns N' Roses extensively. I'm not going to reveal who it is, but if you guys are Patreon members or you support our channel on Patreon the next little bit, you guys get the interview exclusive for the next couple weeks, and then I will release it publicly on my channel. So you guys can look forward to that. And let's get started with this week's news. So we had some big birthdays this week. So Axl Rose turned 56 earlier this week, and it may surprise you to know that Matt Sorum actually wished him a happy birthday, which I don't know if he had done in the past. We also had Slash wish Axl a happy birthday, as well as Duff and Richard Fortus, and even Slash's girlfriend Megan wished Axl a happy birthday as well. So he turned 56 this week, and then Duff McKagan turned 54 earlier this week as well, and then it was also Del James's birthday too. And then Axl took to Twitter to thank everybody for the birthday wishes, which I don't remember if he did every previous year, but it was nice of him to see him active on Twitter. So I was one of the first people to, I think, pretty much break this news a couple months ago, but nobody really believed me. But now it's pretty much confirmed. So former Guns N' Roses drummer Matt Sorum gave an interview to BuzzFeed where he revealed that he will be coming out with a book sometime next year. So in the exchange he had with the interviewer, they said, "Can you share the funniest story or most interesting story that occurred to you in the course of your career?" He said, "Well, I was in Guns N' Roses. There are so many stories, so you will have to read my book that comes out next year." So it's pretty much a confirmation we're going to see a Matt Sorum book. In fact, so as far back as 2012, Matt Sorum talked about writing a book. So he was being interviewed back in 2012, and he said he had already started penning his autobiography. He said, "My book will be a lot better than Slash and Duff's, and I'll tell you why. I remember everything and they don't remember shit." I told Duff, I said, "Duff, how are you going to remember to write a book? You can't even remember what we were doing last night." He said, "I'll write your book for you, and here's the title, Duff McKagan, The Shit I Don't Remember by Matt Sorum," which is kind of funny because Steven Adler's kind of writing a book that's going to be about the stuff he doesn't remember, and it's going to be by stories submitted by fans or his peers. And Matt Sorum also said that both Duff and Slash's book don't really talk a lot about the period from 1990 to 1995, and it seems like that's where Sorum would probably focus a lot of his attention on because that was the years he was primarily in the band until he got fired in 1997. He also said at that point in time in 2012, nobody had given him enough money to actually write a book. So it looks like somebody has now. And I guess with the Guns N' Roses reunion, it's been made a lot easier. So I'm kind of curious how he's going to address the whole Axl situation and the reunion situation. But I can't wait to read the book. And I'm sure when it comes out, I'll get it day one and do a full review of it. So it looks like a bunch of the members of Guns N' Roses headed down to Mexico to go to Fernando's wedding. So Fernando is their manager. And we know that Duff was there. We know Frank was there. Apparently Dizzy was there. Duff was spotted with his wife, as well as Kat Benzova. Del James was there. And some people also speculate that Axl was probably there too. There's some photos of just like his hands, and you can supposedly hear his voice on one of Susan's Instagram stories as well. So I would assume that Axl would have went since he's really close with Fernando and the whole Team Brazil family. So with his time off, we've got some more Slash news. So Eli Roth's new movie Death Wish, which is a remake of the original movie starring Bruce Willis, will actually be hosting a screening of the movie. So Slash posted on social media that on Wednesday, February 28th, you can go to a screening of the movie, which will be hosted by Slash, and there's tickets they're giving away. So it says 30 lucky entrants and their guests will receive tickets to a Death Wish movie screening before the film hits theaters. So basically, if you guys are interested, I've put the article down below, and it's got all the details about how to enter. And if you guys remember, a couple of weeks ago, Slash was actually spotted with Eli Roth. He posted on social media that he hung out with Eli Roth last night. He said he had an epic conversation about all things horror and rock and roll, good times. So looks like Steven Adler has officially announced his first tour date in 2018. So he will be playing the Whiskey A Go-Go on May 10th, according to the Whiskey A Go-Go social media pages. So Adler's Appetite will be celebrating 30 years of Appetite for Destruction. So from the reports I've read, I guess they're going to be playing the entire album from front to back. And it sounds like they'll probably play some Illusion songs too, like Heaven's Door and Civil War. And the tickets right now range from $25 to $500. So the $500 tickets are like VIP booths and stuff. So if you guys want to buy tickets, I've linked to the article down below. And then we've also got some more tour dates that will be announced. It looks like Alex Grossi, who plays in Hookers and Blow with Dizzy Reed, is Steven Adler's booking agent, because he's sort of the one who first teased all the news about Adler's Appetite doing tour dates this year. So we also had another Steven Adler interview. He was on the Mom It's Not Devil's Music podcast, and he talked a bit about the film American Satan, and he also brought up the topic of being kicked out of Guns N' Roses and how he got really depressed and how he was so heartbroken after being kicked out in 1990 that he wanted to die. And he gave a long explanation in terms of, why he felt that way and the circumstances about him getting kicked out, going into the studio to record Civil War and really struggling with the drum track. So I've linked the article down below if you guys want to read the transcription of what he said. So Steven Adler will be appearing on the upcoming AXS TV show called Top 10, and the TV network actually released a 20-second clip of Steven Adler talking a bit about some of his musical inspirations, so I've linked to it down below. It's kind of funny. It was like a private video, but I somehow found it online, so you guys can go enjoy it in the description box below. So we've got another interview with Matt Sorum. He was interviewed by Forbes magazine and talked about music in the digital age. So he was asked about streaming services like Apple, Spotify, and Tidal, and he said at first it came off as a bit elitist to me, but then he started to like the idea to get the general public the original waveforms of the recording. He said he has Tidal and Spotify on his phone and he loves it, but he said, remember, we spent a lot of time and energy in making a record and then suddenly it gets squashed into a digital MP3. He said there's something about connecting with music by the means of its original format, by holding the record in your hand and watching it rotate until it's played its last tune, he continued. It's a spiritual connection. Some might say you can't connect with music like you could back in the past. You can't reach for its soul. Today, digitizing music in MP3 format diminishes its soul and it's not the same sound. He also went on to say that Guns N' Roses and Velvet Revolver were a little bit behind the technological curve. Watching bands like Linkin Park who were digitally savvy, it was a marketing component. He said you had to either jump on board and get with it or be left behind and be a bit of a dinosaur. He said post Guns N' Roses in the early 90s, we still put out vinyls, cassettes, and then CDs came out. When things started to go online with Velvet Revolver, I'd suggested the band get up to speed with what was happening with the new world. So we've also got a recent interview with Bullet for My Valentine, and they interviewed the band member Jamie Mathis, who sat down and talked about his top 5 favorite Guns N' Roses songs and the reasoning for why those songs were his favorite. So I won't go into the reasoning, but I'll tell you what the songs are. So he picked Estranged, he picked Sweet Child of Mine, Garden of Eden, which I thought was an interesting choice, It's So Easy, and Paradise City. If you guys want to see the full article, I've linked to it down below in the description box. So we also got some Dizzy Reed news. So it looks like Dizzy Reed isn't done touring with Hookers and Blow. In fact, his bandmate Alex Grossi posted on Facebook some upcoming tour dates that he's going to be doing with Quiet Riot. But then there's also some tour dates listed as Alex Grossi and Dizzy Reed, and then there's Hookers and Blow. So it seems like throughout the month of March, they'll be doing a tour across the states, doing like a number of different dates. And as we get more information and confirmation on that, guys, I will let you guys know. So if you guys missed Dizzy the first time, maybe you'll have a chance to see him again. So we also got an interview with Tyler Bryant of Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. So he was interviewed on the Appetite for Distortion podcast, and I basically summarized what he talked about, at least the portion on Guns N' Roses. And you guys may not know this, but they also opened for AC/DC for Brian Johnson's last 10 shows in 2016. So he said there was a couple times when Brian Johnson told the audience he couldn't hear, and he even talked about one show in Denver where Brian was singing mostly just from muscle memory because he couldn't hear the guitars. But he said most other times Brian sounded great. He said basically Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown were in Nashville when they heard that Brian Johnson was leaving AC/DC, and the AC/DC tour at that point in time was postponed or canceled. So they were supposed to be playing Atlanta the next day and finish the American tour and then go support AC/DC in Europe. And of course that got postponed until Axl was hired as the frontman for AC/DC. He said that the AC/DC camp is super tight-lipped about what's going on behind the scenes, and even in this day and age of social media, he was pretty impressed by that. He said that the next time that they actually heard about what was going on with AC/DC was when the band was in Atlanta, and TMZ reported that Axl Rose was rehearsing with the band. He also said that Axl became familiar with Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown when the band opened for AC/DC in Lisbon, Portugal, and the next day Axl's people got in touch with Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown to ask them to open for Guns N' Roses. And Tyler Bryant wasn't really surprised if Axl sticks with AC/DC to record an album and do a tour. He said that he stressed that he didn't really have any inside information. And he actually said he wrote a thank you note to Axl after they were done opening for AC/DC and Guns N' Roses, basically just thanking them for helping them out because Tyler Bryant's band was sort of in limbo while everything was kind of figured out. So that does it for this week of Guns N' Roses news. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Be sure to go subscribe if you love Guns N' Roses as much as I do. And make sure you guys go support us on Patreon if you want to get exclusive access to some of these high-profile interviews we're doing. So go check out our Patreon page. The link to it is down below. And go check out rockerregs.com to get your 15% off your order if you use the promo code AXLDUF2018. Take care, guys.